So how do we change the world? How do we stop governance being a waste of time? Oh, there's a hand at the back, yes. Okay, make sure there's benefits in there, benefits realisation, yeah? Okay. Anyone else? Hello. Ooh, hold someone accountable. What a terrifying phrase that is. Glad I don't work for you. Well, because you might want to hold me accountable. I just stand up here and blame other people. Okay. How can we change the world? Well, first of all, let's look at what governance should achieve. The statements that the APM and the ISO, HM Treasury gave are very theoretical about governance. Nobody actually looks at what is the purpose of government, what should governance achieve. My suggestion is 4 things. First thing governance should do is make sure you make the right big decision. This project is not going to deliver benefits, so I'm stopping it. It doesn't matter whether I've invested £1 or £100,000, it's wasting money. The decision is to stop it. That's the right big decision. Projects fail because they don't get stopped. Projects succeed but don't deliver any benefit because nobody went, it's not going to deliver any benefit. People call that a success because the system went in, but actually it's a failure. You've got to deliver the right benefits. Governance should be there going, why are you doing this project? When we go back to that picture, that diagram that says why projects exist, strategy feeds objective, feeds a portfolio that feeds program and projects. At some point there, somebody's got to say, hold on, doesn't fit the objective, it doesn't deliver the strategy, don't do it. Deliver the right benefits that actually work for the company in achieving your strategy. Avoid non-value add projects. Now obviously there are some that you would say are not value add, which is where you've got sort of a legal requirement to do stuff, but generally you should look at a project and say, is it really going to add value to my business? Is it going to change the way we do business? Is it going to improve things? Or am I just doing it because, you know what, we've got to upgrade desktops and therefore we're going to do that, or we've decided to do a data center move, or that we really like the SAP salesman and we think SAP's a brilliant idea and we've got a spare several trillion to waste on it, because that's pretty much how it's going to cost you most times. The final thing that governance should achieve is to stop things going wrong. Stop things going wrong is look at what projects you've got and continuously check them and say, yeah, no, that's not doing what we want. We've got to stop that going wrong. That's the purpose of governance. That's what it should achieve. How you do that, it will be dependent on organisation. There's a lot that says, you know what, different maturity levels, different organisational hierarchies will mean you do it differently. But the simple thing is, make sure governance is achieving something. So that's the purpose of governance. How you do that? First thing, keep governance boards small. Things that are large move slowly. Governance boards that have lots of people involved on them move slowly. Their decision-making processes are slow and therefore time gets in the way. If you have a tollgate process and you're looking at a project management framework that says, you know, you have to get through a checkpoint to go from an analyze to design phase if you're using SDLC, then if that takes a month to get your governance board to say, yes, you're approved, your project's either moved on, in which case what's the point in approving it, it's too late, or you've stopped the project, in which case everyone's gone, well, I'm moving off onto something else. And when you try and gear back up again, you've lost your team. So you've got to keep the governance board small so it can make decisions fast. You've also got to acknowledge that actually, the larger a group of people, the easier it is for people to hide behind the group. And you get that sort of mob mentality. In the words of Mr. Ozzy Osbourne, if you listen to fools, the mob rules. There you go. But so simply, I will make a decision quicker than you will as a group. Now, I'm not saying I will make the right decision. That's a different point. But the smaller it is, the greater the chances of making the right decision. Keep it senior. There's no point having relatively low-level people doing governance. They need a mandate. You need to be able to make a decision. If we go back to the purpose and we say, stop doing things wrong and make sure you only do value-add projects, then you've got to have people who've got a mandate to do that. They can't be in a situation going, well, we don't think this project should progress through this toll gate, but actually we're not important enough to make that decision, so we'll say we don't think it should, but everyone says, tough, we're ploughing on anyway. The people who are your governance board have to have a mandate to do that. So if they say stop, you stop. If they say we don't start because this is the wrong thing to do, you don't start. And that also is why you need to keep it quite small. You need a core group of people. One of the controversial ones, and this is one that we find we always get challenged on, no project stakeholders. The project stakeholder is the worst person to be involved in governance of their project. As the gentleman in the third row said, politics. See, I'm using you a lot now. You wish you hadn't said politics, I noticed that. If it's my project, of course I want it to succeed. And I have my own political motivations, I have my own career aspirations. That'll mean I'll be like, no, but it's still a good idea to do the project. Your project stakeholder cannot be part of the decision-making process because his decisions are biased. Your governance board has to be made up of people who go, actually, from an outsider's point of view, this is a terrible idea, we should stop it. We actually advise from Acando that your governance board should be made up of somebody who doesn't work for your company. Somebody who's independent, who can go, as an outsider, really stupid idea. Trusted advisor, those sorts of things. But no project stakeholders, they're the wrong people to make decisions about a project. And that's the same when you get into a process such as change control. If your change board has your stakeholder on it, he's always going to approve the changes he's come up with. Once again, it's the same thing. Governance says, don't have the person with a serious vested interest in completion of a project, and notice I say completion, not success. Don't have them involved in the decision-making process and the governance. They're the wrong people. Finally, review the processes in the real world. It's not rocket science, but anyone can go along and they can go and do a Prince 2 training course and then do mammoth amounts of process for Prince. But does it work? You know your organisations, you should know what works and what doesn't work. If your organisation requires a mass amount of paperwork, then the first thing you should do is ask why. What value does it add? Check that the process works in the real world, that it works day to day. And also, check that the process works project by project, programme by programme, portfolio level, because actually, one process, one size does not fit all. It is not the case. Process, check it in the real world. There you go. Nothing particularly sort of rocket science about any of that, but that's actually what people fail to do. Too many organisations create governance structures. They have sometimes senior people, just sometimes people who get that. And they are, oh, there's a finance guy who does that, there's an architecture guy who approves its technical architecture, there's somebody who coordinates PMO who approves this, that and the other. I personally have managed a program, $100 million program, where we got through into the build toll gate for a $14 million stream without the governance board meeting. They got sent the presentation and all approved it remotely because it was spread across 4 countries. Now, none of them are here, so I can happily admit that 4 of them all got different presentations. They didn't bother to check that they were actually reading the same stuff. And to be fair, my motivation was, I want the programme to carry on. I'm just as political as the rest of them. I'm not averse to sometimes tweaking the process to my own ends. Governance and the programme was actually a success and carries on to be a success. But the fact of the matter is their process in the real world didn't work. So they're like, no, we've got a nice, neat core governance board. If they don't meet, they don't discuss things, they're all making decisions based upon what slide do I want to look at in the PowerPoint? Oh, I'm the finance guy. I don't care what the change control and all that is and what it's delivering. It's under budget. Tick. I'm happy with that. Architecture guys, still using the architecture I approved in the design phase. Tick. I'm approved. Project person. Yes. Ticked all the boxes in the framework. Great. You're approved to go through the toll gate and you're approved to go into build phase and spend $14 million of our money. Brilliant. That's a holiday in Bermuda. But anyway. Process in the real world, check it works, keep checking it.